Now, if you guys at home are on the hunt for a new job this year, you are not alone. More than half of Americans have said that they plan to look for new positions in 2025. And if you're one of them, listen up. LinkedIn is out with its annual report exploring jobs on the rise. This year, almost half of the roles didn't even exist 25 years ago. LinkedIn senior editor-at-large Jessie Hempel is here to tell us where to look for a new job and to share all of the best details and tips for a great interview. Welcome, Jessie.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Hello.
We are great. So we're not looking for new jobs. We're very happy.
We're very happy.
Where we are. But for those of us in general, as in like all of us who are, what are the industries people should be looking at?
It's a great question, and my first answer is not going to surprise you. I don't know if you've heard of this artificial intelligence trend.
Oh, yeah. What do they call it? AI? Yes.
Well, here's the thing. This part's not going to surprise you. Technical skills are in demand. If you are building or even thinking about building some technical skills to support an AI career, you should be doing it. But here's the thing, you don't need technical skills to be working in AI. And there are many jobs on our list this year, like AI consultant, that actually require strategic and business skills. And so anybody can be working in AI.
I'm blown away by that data point we came in on, that 44% of jobs that exist today didn't exist 25 years ago. What a topsy-turvy world this is.
Well, I mean, think about me. I came into my job as a magazine writer, and now I mostly host Hello Monday, our podcast. What was a podcast?
Right.
What was a podcast? But of course, the really exceptional opportunities that did not exist years ago, there are the AI opportunities, but there's the fact that AI kind of sneaks into every job that you have and it changes the role, right?
And you're also seeing growth in the travel and events industries. Why is that?
Well, I think that we're enough years after COVID that people are back, but people and really, I think you see corporations, they want guidance, and they want guidance from professionals. And by the way, travel is not the only place where you're going to see people in roles like physical therapists, frontline workers. There is a demand for a type of customer service we haven't seen in a while.
So if you're going to make a switch, where do you begin? And then if you get a job interview, how do you sound like you know what AI is and how do you use it?
Asking for a friend.
Well, you're going to sound like you know what AI is because you're going to get to know what AI is. But the first question you ask is like, how do I even begin to think about making a switch? Stop thinking about what you have as a job. Yes, you look great on television as an anchor, but you can take everything that you use every day to do the job that you have, Tony, and put it to use in some other way. So the right way to think about your job is a basket of skills. And the first question to ask yourself is, which of these skills can I put to use somewhere else? And where are the places where I can build some new skills to complement those skills and have an entirely new opportunity?
But how do you build those skills? I mean, we don't all have money to go get a master's degree or whatever it is. How can people do this?
And you shouldn't. You should not go back to school for 4 years.
I love that.
Why should you do that in a world where you can find everything you need at your fingertips? Now, first of all, I think a lot of people don't know that employers are really interested in reskilling their employees. So the first place to look is to see what your boss offers. That might take the form of coaching, it might take the form of online skills, online courses, and beyond that, we know there are so many online course opportunities. Like on LinkedIn, we have a whole host of opportunities available for free the next month.
Wow.
Just so you can begin to do that work.
It's great. It's great.
I'm just going to say, then you need to apply it. And there are lots of places in your life where you can practice. And there are places you maybe aren't thinking about, you're already doing a lot of work, like the PTA at your kid's school, or if you're a part of a church or a synagogue and you're working on a project.
That's such good advice to kind of look for all the places where you can apply those skills. Jessie, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Well, if you're planning on looking for a new job this year, you might find that you're up against some stiff competition. A LinkedIn survey found 54% of respondents in the U.S. want to change jobs in 2025. So where do you start, and how can you stand out from the crowd? That's a tough one. LinkedIn career expert Catherine Fisher is here to help us out. Catherine, thanks for joining us this morning. 54% sounds really high. What is it about this job market that is uniquely challenging?
Yeah, so what happened is in 2024, a lot of people were considering making a job change, and many of them didn't change jobs, so they're still on the job market. And then you have an influx of new people who are looking for a role. So it's highly competitive, and it's leading to real frustration in the job search.
How can you get a leg up?
So the first thing you want to do is just make sure that you're a match for the job. You're going to want to be really strategic in your job search. So LinkedIn just has this new feature that you could take a look to see if your skills and qualifications match, because you don't want to spend all of your time on a job that you're never going to get that interview for. You also don't want to cut and paste every single resume, cover letter, et cetera. And if it says that it's, cover letter optional, it's never an option. It's always a yes. The reason why is you want to use every opportunity you have to sell yourself. So make sure that you're customizing all of your correspondence with the hiring manager. And something else that we're finding is that hiring managers love a growth mindset and they love adaptability. So growth mindset is really about showing that a lot of these companies are trying to figure out how do we change with new skills and the way we do things. They want to bring people in who are going to help solve those problems.
What skill sets rate highest, and what jobs have the most growth out there?
Yeah, so if you look at it, of course, AI engineer is top of the list. It doesn't mean, though, that that's the only job out there. So that's going to appeal to some people, not everyone. There's a lot of other roles that you should be looking at. For example, travel and live experiences has a lot of interests from companies. And think of that as like an event coordinator, a travel advisor. Construction, healthcare, really high on the list. Another one, maybe not as surprising, is companies are looking for people to help with growth. So think of like business development, a chief growth officer, those types of roles to really help companies see that boost.
A lot of people feel they can do a job and they're very passionate about it and they have a lot of raw intelligence, but they don't have specific qualifications that the screening process just weeds you out.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that maybe this is like a scene from a movie, lying on the resume to get the interview, admitting it in the interview, but then nailing it in such a way that you get the job?
Yeah, I would not lie. I think
I can answer that.
Then you're never going to get the interview.
So then I think you're looking at the wrong roles. What you really want to do is focus on the roles where you do have that skill set. But sometimes what'll happen is that the way they're describing what that job description is, if you really look at it closely, you may have those skills because there's a lot of transferable skills. So if you look back at when we're talking about live and travel experiences, that's a big one on the list. Like an event coordinator and a travel advisor, two different jobs, they share a lot of the same skills.
Yeah. But if it says mandatory 4-year degree or 2-year degree and you don't have one.
Maybe go back to school.
Come on. Yeah, okay. You going to loan them $150,000? Call Michelle. She's got you. Catherine, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Always great advice.
In today's Money Watch, whether you're looking for a new job or trying to get ahead with the one you have, there's a lot you have to think about. It's stressful. So you're thinking about from where to even start your search, negotiating a salary or a raise. And either way, we have you covered. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger is here to help you set you up for success. Jill, good morning.
Good morning. This is a tough one, right?
It is a tough one. So just to start, it doesn't feel like a good time necessarily to ask for a raise. The economy is in flux. A lot of companies are kind of battening down the hatches to wait to see what happens with the government. What's your advice to people who are looking for that raise?
Well, first of all, you absolutely have to understand the landscape. So, you work in a government agency and you're worried about your job, that's not the time to say no, but I really want to work from home. You really have to understand that. You work in media, unless you're a certain type of person, maybe you're not going to get a raise. So it is very important to at least consider what is going on in the overall environment. You're not asking for a raise in the middle of a deep recession, but maybe in your industry specifically or at your company. I remember back in the financial crisis, I would hear from some people working at investment banks, and they said, it's so unfair, I wanted a bigger bonus. I'm like, we almost saw your entire company go down the tube, so you're not getting a bigger bonus.
Some people may be saying, I'm just going to get out of the government altogether. I have to look elsewhere. Maybe they had jobs before, but maybe not. What's the best advice for people, and it's not just government people, who might be looking in industries that they know nothing about? And that comes to salary, too, because you don't know the ranges. Yes.
Well, the good news is there's so much information out there, so you're going to have to conduct some research. And I know this is a little bit daunting, but it's kind of fun also. And, you're going to see, what are the industries that are growing? And it's very easy to do this. You can go to places like LinkedIn and Glassdoor, and you want to research whatever you think you want to go to. You also want to update your own online presence, clean up that social media, maybe turn some things to private. And I think it's important to weigh the pros and cons. I glossed over that. You want to weigh.
Delete those spring break photos.
Yeah, but also if people have been, let's say you've been working in the government for a long time, you haven't done a job search in 20 years, the landscape really has changed, and there is more information out there. So figure that out, and if you're going to be a career switcher, you can't go in saying, oh, I was getting paid $90,000 here. You're starting over, maybe you have to go back to $60,000. So really be clear about that.
So you talk about, really having a framework that you've created in your book, The Great Money Reset, and you have an acronym to help people do this, which is BULLY.
Yeah, okay, well, in a good way, bully, okay? Let me be clear.
Not
about
the bad
that.
one.
Okay, so when you get all that research, maybe you've gone to Glassdoor and LinkedIn and you got that, but I think the B is bully up your ask, meaning you got to do your research. You have to clarify what you want. Do you want to be working in a managerial position? Do you want the sales position? Do you want to understand the full picture, which we just talked about? We also want you to be very clear that you got to lose your ego sometimes. Yeah. You really do. It's very hard, but we want you to make sure that you understand where your boss is coming from. Your boss may be feeling pressure that you don't understand. Leave time to practice your conversations. This is especially important if you're young and you're going in to talk to somebody who's older. Go talk to your parents, their friends, do some mock interviewing. Yeah. And the why is don't yuck it up. What do I mean by that? Guys, no ultimatums. I've never met a situation and heard about a situation where someone bangs on the desk and says, I demand a raise or else. Even if you get that raise, I promise you at the next time there's a downsizing, you're going to be at the top of the list.
Real quickly, Jill, if people are thinking about taking that side hustle, making it a full-time job, real quick advice for them.
Very quick advice is it's great to test out a concept. If you want to do that, great. If you are actually thinking that your side hustle is going to become like a real standalone business, don't forget you're going to have to look at your benefits, your retirement plan, your life insurance, your disability insurance. These are all things you will have to actually replace. I know we have a ton more to talk about, but to be clear, when you're making this job shift, the thing that I've switched careers 3 times. Okay, this is my 3rd career, and last, by the way. And what I can tell you is, give yourself some grace. You're not going to know everything. It's really scary. Make sure you've got that emergency reserve fund built up, and understand that it's a process. And even though we are seeing job creation in lots of different industries, you have to just give yourself a little bit of time to figure out where you're going next.
Jill, such good advice, as always. If you at home have a money-related question that you'd like Jill to answer, you can send an email to askjill@cbs.com, and she could answer it in an upcoming segment. So, from crafting cover letters to revising resumes, applying for a job is stressful, to say the least. But what if all of that effort was for a position that doesn't even exist? We are talking about ghost jobs, postings for roles that companies aren't actually looking to fill. Sometimes these positions can stay up for weeks, even months. A survey by career site Resume Builder found, wait for it, listen to this, that 40% of companies admitted to posting a ghost job within the previous year. So why is this happening, and how can you tell if that dream job is not what it seems? Erin McGough is a career educator, digital creator, and TikTok superstar, and founder of Advice with Erin. Erin, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Thanks for being here.
Of course, happy to be here.
So we need some advice. Why on earth is this happening, and what should people do?
Man, there are so many reasons why ghost jobs have been sneaking up. For one thing, it makes companies look good. If they're hiring, it means they're making money. Another reason is that it's a good way to snoop on competitors. What better way to get that intel than to be interviewing people who work for your competitors? But I know.
Diabolical.
I know, but not all the reasons are so malicious. Sometimes companies are just predicting that they'll, get an influx of, funding from a VC firm, and maybe they're just preparing for roles that they will have in the future. So it's not all evil, but it definitely is a problem for job seekers.
God, I used to worry that they would post a job, but they've already identified somebody inside the company that's going to get it, and they're just doing it for legal reasons. Are there laws that regulate posting fake jobs?
Well, false advertising is illegal, so absolutely, but it's almost impossible to actually regulate because how can you really tell if a job is real or fake?
So what advice do you have for people to be able to know if something's real or not?
Absolutely, yeah. So there are definitely some red flags that you can look out for. Like, first of all, if the job's been up for a while, like for longer than 60 to 90 days, that could be a red flag. If there's a really high number of applicants, like 1,000 plus applicants, and also if the job description is just kind of vague, like if you're just like what they want, a superstar sales guru. Like, it just doesn't sit right with you. Listen to your gut. Another great way is to cross-reference the job with the company website careers page, and to reach out to the recruiter and just say, you know, is this a job that you're actively looking to fill? Maybe they'll get back to you.
More than 3 million people follow you on TikTok, looking for advice on all matter of office-related and job-related things. What's your biggest piece of advice for them? And then I have a lightning round for you.
Oh, okay. I would say my biggest piece of advice these days, and y'all are gonna hate me for this, but I promise you, it's the way to get the best job is to network. You gotta network, you know? You guys know you're in the film industry, you gotta get to know people, and networking isn't always so scary, you know?
How honest should people be in their self-reviews?
Ooh. 5 stars. You know, if you guys think you did 5 stars, put 5 stars. I'm allowing you to do that.
Is bare midriff professional if you put a blazer over it?
I'm a big blazer girl, so I'm gonna go ahead with yes.
Okay. Shorts in the office?
No.
I agree. Do you have
Sandals in the office?
Closed-toed? Maybe closed-toed.
Closed-toed sandals? Open-toed sandals?
Then a no. I don't know. I've never been asked that before.
I'm sorry. This is a completely impromptu. You will give it some thought, and we'll see it on TikTok soon enough. It's been really great to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate it. Aaron McGough.
Some 4 million students are graduating college this year, and many are entering a challenging job market. Government numbers show hiring slowed down more than expected in the U.S. last month, and the unemployment rate ticked up to 3.9%. There is some good news for grads. 32% of the U.S. jobs listed on LinkedIn are entry-level positions. LinkedIn career expert Catherine Fisher is here with tips for new grads and a few others. Anyone else looking for a job?
Yes, many
Good
great
morning. And I know quite a few of them. Some recent grads, some grads from 2023, some folks who want to change.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for them, especially these Zennials and Millennials, who I sometimes think there's like the culture disconnect?
Yes. First thing is have an open mind. You know, the job market, as you mentioned, is going to be a little bit tough. So what you may have thought your career path was going to be right out the gate may change. So be really creative in terms of location, industry, and job type. You also want to really work on that network. Networking should be your full-time job until you get a job, but never give up on networking even when you get that job. So you may think, oh, I don't have a network. Well, you actually do. Your professors, your teachers, your coaches, etc. Tap into them. You also really want to think, you know, about what all the firsts you're going to have. So this is going to be tough. You're going to have to write your first resume. You're going to have your first interview. You're going to have so many firsts. It's going to be challenging. Get used to it. The last thing, which is, I think, probably the most important, is to have a growth mindset. What we're finding is that, you know, because you may get a job that you didn't think you'd be in, this is not your end-all, be-all job. This is a stepping stone. But what we're seeing is that if you want to have that edge, you need to have AI skills. We hear it all the time. So Microsoft and LinkedIn just published a report on the state of AI. They found that 66% of hiring managers are looking for people with AI skills. But the really great news for entry level is that they were saying that more than 70% of hiring managers will hire someone who has AI skills, even if they're less qualified.
So you got to be technologically savvy. You mentioned location.
Yes.
Are there parts of the country that might be hiring a little bit more?
There are. So you may have thought, oh, I'm going to end up in New York or San Francisco, Bay Area.
Dream job.
Yeah, dream job. Yeah, maybe you're going to end up in Arizona. Tucson is hiring a lot, so we're seeing lots of entry-level jobs there.
Okay.
Raytheon, University of Arizona, Banner Health, those companies are hiring. We're also seeing Florida as being a hot spot. Gainesville and Tallahassee are big numbers there for entry level.
Just in about 15, 30 seconds, then our final question here. Are there particular jobs where there's a lot of demand for people?
There are. So investment banking analyst, medical assistant, and behavioral health specialist. So you may think, again, I don't have those skills. A lot of these companies will give you the training, and your skills are probably transferable. So make sure that you're really playing up the skills that you have that they're looking for.
I just have to ask this. Are there any things that you advise folks not to do in an interview? I mean, what shouldn't they do?
Yeah, don't focus so much on what you don't have. Focus on the skills that you do have. So look at the job description. These are the skills that you're looking for. these are the skills that you have. And you may not think you have those skills, but you probably do. So be really creative in terms of that storytelling. Get your story down pat, practice with friends. Think about how do you communicate that you're a great communicator.
Yeah.
And don't say you want to worry about work-life balance.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Also,
a big no-no.
Watch the movie Step Brothers. Don't do what they Heather Fisher, thank you so much.